right, good evening and welcome to Your View with me on Tabane. It's Africa Day here on Your View on Wednesdays, and we'll end the day with, of course, the Africa Roundtable led there by Advocate Mantula. Going to tell us what's been happening across the continent. And if you are joining us from other parts of the continent, all 54 and so countries where we broadcast, you are welcome, and we really are privileged to have you join us. And I've received so many people from all over Botswana to Ghana to Nigeria to Ethiopia, as well as places such as Nigeria, saying they followed the show and they would like to see more of the content that relates to their country. So of course we take note of your own needs of news and views. Well, I thought tonight we'll talk about South Africa, the good news. I've promised you that this week, right? And one of the crew here was telling me that we must talk about the bodies that have been discovered in Soweto. Sad story there. But tonight we're going to be talking about the good news. You remember 2 days ago, we put up a request, a nationwide search for Vicki Momberg, who was wanted by the police for running away from the law. And I had said to you, it is good news that she's running because she knows that the law is going to take its course. This is not a banana republic. You can't get sentenced and then think you can run. And of course, today, she was arrested. She handed herself over because the pressure, I'm sure, was too much. She couldn't hide anywhere. And I think that's the kind of country that we should be living in, where nobody is above the law. It's truly good news, South Africa. I know that in the midst of the gloom, sometimes we overlook things that are good about our country. Today, an animal, because I don't know how else to describe a person who kills 4 of his own children. How do you describe that person except that they are an animal? I'm not sure. Because even an animal probably won't do that, won't kill its own kids. Sentenced to 4 life imprisonment, South Africa. These are good news. Especially in the context of today's story, where another animal killed a woman with his own kids and threw them into the lake. When you see such stories, you have to celebrate that the law ultimately, slow as it sometimes is, will take its course, and someone is going to spend the rest of their lives in prison. When they give you 4 lives, and I don't know how it works, but it means you will never see the light of day, basically. You're going to rot in prison. You're going to rot in jail, like the omototos of this world. I mean, with 37 charges coming for you, you're going to have to rot in prison. That's part of the good news. And of course, the good news coming out of Sandton this afternoon, of course, the investment summit. Let's take a look at what the president had to say yesterday in Tshwane. First of all, launching the industrial zone there, which will create more than 600,000 jobs in the next 5 years. And of course, you will also take a listen to what he said today at the investment summit. Let's take a look.
I'm pleased to note that the 18 companies that have been engaged to set up their own operations in this SEZ are already revving up their own engines and are rearing to go. And I'm told that 9 of them have already confirmed to set up factories here by January 2021. Now, if you never thought of anything that's uplifting, the building of a factory, the building of an industrial facility, is one of the most uplifting things that you can have in any economy. And it is happening here under our own noses, and we are grateful for that. Now, the projected investment amounts, as we've heard earlier from the MEC, that will come to about 3.6 billion rand. But more importantly for all of us, this will have the potential of getting 6,700, I repeat, 6,700 direct jobs that will be created here. This is phenomenal. Now, this is phenomenal. You don't just stumble across 6,700 jobs every day. It takes a lot of doing to create a single job. Last year, we announced our objective to raise $100 billion, or better still, translated into our currency, at the time, 1.2 trillion rand, in new investments over 5 years with a view to addressing low economic growth and reducing unemployment in our country. It is now exactly 1 year since the inaugural South African Investment Conference, where local and international investors responded wonderfully to our call and stood on this platform to make investment announcements totaling nearly 300 billion rand. Of the 31 projects that were announced on this platform last year, 8 projects have been realized and completed, meaning that the money has been spent, factories have either been built or facilities improved, and workers employed, and all has gotten away very well. It is pleasing to see that investors continue to consider South Africa as a country with much to offer and a viable and profitable investment destination. Indeed, we have a lot to offer in the form of our people, in natural and mineral resources, with a young and able workforce. We also have world-class infrastructure, sophisticated telecommunication systems, and a well-regulated financial and banking sector.
All right. The number, I was very optimistic there with the number of jobs. Is 6,700 jobs, as the president was mentioning there, not 600,000. I would like it to be 600,000 with all of the song and dance that often goes with these industrial zones. But absolutely, certainly good news that there is some movement somewhere to make sure that this whole issue of unemployment is tackled and is tackled fully. The president earlier on in the day announcing the 363 billion rand had been pledged in today's investment summit. But also he's mentioning that a couple of projects from last year, there were 31 projects announced, and about 8 of those have already seen fruition. Of course, these things do take time, but what this tells us is that we must go beyond the news. It must go beyond announcements. And when you say there's 363 billion rand that has been set aside or that's been pledged, then we need to see that money flowing because there's been enough talking. We need to see things actually happening. But these, South Africa, are good news. And we need them. I mean, after the weekend of the box showing us that we can indeed triumph and succeed, then we need to triumph and succeed in many other areas of our own lives. Today's stories that come out of Soweto, where 3 bodies were found in a lake, just a few days before what we call the 16 days of activism is simply sad. But it's things that will always happen. There'll always be bad news. The question is, what do we do with the good news? And I would like to hear from you. What are the things that you believe as a citizen should uplift us, should keep us encouraged amidst all of the gloom and the doom? What should keep us dedicated to making sure that this country works? One of the things that Malungelo Boy earlier on in the day asked the Premier of Gauteng was, where are the entrepreneurs? Where are the entrepreneurs? When all of these big numbers are being thrown around, where are the entrepreneurs? And he had a good answer to say that there must be a link between those who are pledging all of these billions and how that is going to link to businesses that are based in rural areas, that are based in our townships. And in relation to the industrial zone that was launched in Tshwane yesterday, for example, that opportunities will emerge for mechanics in our townships, mechanics from Mamelodi, from Soshanguve, from Roslyn and surrounding areas, who will benefit from the automotive industrial zone that has been set up in Johannesburg. Give me a ring now. 010-594-5140 is an open line. Now we're going to be talking to Israel Mkhize at the bottom of this hour to analyze some more about what the investment summit means, but you can also give me a ring. Are you optimistic about some of these projects that are being launched? What are the good news that we should be celebrating as South Africa? Let's take a break now.